Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dr. Bob Heinrich, and I am the university's Chief Enrollment Management Officer. I want to just take the opportunity to welcome all of our future Ospreys and guests who have joined us for our virtual information session about the new Stockton Promise program, offering free tuition and fees for students who qualify. We are streaming this live on the Stockton Admissions University Facebook page. So I want to welcome all of our visitors on Facebook Live, as well as all of you who've logged in this evening through our Zoom link. I would love to now just take the opportunity to turn it over to Grace Talion, who is one of our assistant directors in the Office of Admissions.
Thank you, Bob, and welcome everyone. We are so excited to have you here tonight. As Bob mentioned, my name is Grace Talion. I am one of our assistant directors of admission over here at Stockton University, and I am actually going to pass it along to my colleague, James Rodia, to introduce himself.
Yes, hello. Thank you so much, Grace. My name is James Rodia. I am also one of the assistant directors of admissions here for Stockton University. I am specifically responsible for the transfer students. I am one of our transfer coordinators here for the university, and would like to send a special welcome to any incoming or potential transfer student here in the webinar this evening. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to join us. Look forward to a wonderful event. And I would now like to pass it over to Chris Connors, who is our guest of honor, also one of the hosts this evening. He is our Director of Financial Aid.
All right. Thank you, James and Grace. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. As James had mentioned, my name is Chris Connors. I'm Director of Financial Aid here at Stockton University. I've spent about a little over 15 years here at Stockton. Spent half my career in the admissions office and have spent my most recent half now in the financial aid office. I'm a graduate at Stockton. I graduated with a business management degree, as well as I also stayed for a while, earning my master's in instructional technology. So not only can I tell you a little bit about financial aid, I also can share you with my experience here at Stockton and what a positive one it has been. So I'm looking forward to explaining Stockton Promise, how it works, as well as answering as many questions as possible tonight for you.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris. And we are also joined over in our chat and in our Q&A feature by Ms. Heather Medina, who is our Director of Admissions here at Stockton, and also Natalia Manger, who is one of our admissions counselors here at Stockton. So certainly do not be shy. We do have a Q&A and a chat feature enabled on this webinar through Zoom. So if you do have any questions, certainly do put them in there. I am just going to let you all know that this is being recorded. So certainly we would want to refrain from putting any kind of sensitive or personal information out there in the chat. Certainly if you are looking for some individualized follow-up, we will provide you with some opportunities to do so more towards the end of this presentation. But we look forward to answering your questions and explaining the program a bit. So what exactly is the Stockton Promise? And that's a question that I know we have been getting a lot over here in the Office of Admissions myself. So the new Stockton Promise grant covers 100% of the gap between federal, state, and institutional grants and scholarships and the cost of tuition and fees for qualifying students. And Chris is actually going to break this down a little bit more later as to what exactly that could look like in certain situations. So once those things are on there, the federal, state, institutional grants and scholarships, if there is any kind of gap, that's where the Stockton Promise comes into play in terms of qualifying for free tuition and fees. So this grant furthers Stockton University's ongoing commitment to helping students achieve their academic goals while reducing their need for student loans. And that is all really what we're about here at Stockton. That is putting students first. And that's something that I think you will see throughout this presentation for sure. So who exactly is eligible for the Stockton Promise Grant? So this is a program that is rolling out for folks enrolling for the fall 2021 semester, coming in as a new freshman or transfer student here at Stockton. You must maintain full-time student status, and that means you must enroll in at least 12 credits per semester here at Stockton to keep that eligibility. You must also be a New Jersey state resident, and you must complete the FAFSA or the New Jersey Alternative Financial Aid application in order to be considered. And this is really where we are looking in a little bit more. You must have an adjusted gross income, an AGI of 0 up until $65,000 per year as per your 2021-2022 FAFSA. So again, we're looking at the previous year, so looking back in 2019. And Chris will go over this a little bit more later as well. So how to apply? I'm so lucky to have James here to kind of chime in on our transfer side of this as well. But the application process is really quite simple. You do not need to indicate interest or submit any kind of separate application to raise your hand and say, yes, I am interested in the Stockton Grant Program. All students meeting eligibility requirements are automatically considered. So simply you must complete your free application for admission. So I know over here on the freshman side of the house, we do have our fee waiver code, which is Stockton U 2021. And on the transfer side of the house, we do have our code that is Finish Strong 2021. So it is certainly not too late to apply for the fall 2021 semester. We are reviewing applications every day. So all you really need to do is go ahead and submit that application, any supplemental materials, so that we can go ahead and review your application for admission. And that is along with completing your FAFSA or that New Jersey alternative application.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for the plug for our transfer applicants as well. I just wanted to piggyback a little bit on what Grace had mentioned. This program is also eligible for those qualifying transfer students. I am also an alumni of the university, as Chris mentioned, and I am a transfer student myself. So it's really, really fortunate that I am now in this opportunity to, provide the information to those new and incoming transfer students. If you have attended any community college or four-year university, after high school graduation, you are now considered a transfer student for admission and application purposes. Okay, stockton.edu/transfer. We have one way to apply as a transfer student, and that is our internal transfer application. It is online, very easy. And we also have the Finish Strong 2021 promo code. It's not going to cost you anything to apply as a transfer. And as Grace mentioned, we also have rolling admissions, which means we constantly review as we receive. Okay, so the sooner you get your application and the supplemental items in, the sooner we're able to provide you with the official admissions decision. As a transfer student applicant, along with your submitted transfer application, we will need all official transcripts from each previously attended institution. And as Grace mentioned, this program is also available to the qualifying transfer students who meet that income eligibility guideline. And it is offered up until graduation or 128 credits. Okay, so we have 128 credits to our degree completion programs here at the university. We're on the 4-credit evaluation system. And if you are a transfer student and qualified, it will be guaranteed up through your graduation.
Excellent. Good point, James. So over on the freshman side of the house, there are actually 2 different ways to apply. So one of them is on that very same admissions application website that's over in the chat. And the second way is through our the Common application. So if you're interested in applying through the Common app, you may certainly do so. You actually don't need a fee waiver for my freshman folks that may still be applying. You just simply have to indicate, yes, I'm requesting a fee waiver in the Stockton question section of the Common application. application. And I know many of you have already been accepted. You have already confirmed your enrollment here at Stockton, or maybe thinking of doing so. So if you're past this point, no worries. We're going to really go ahead and get into a bit more of the financial aid side of things. With that, I will pass it along to Chris.
All right, Grace, thank you so much. Are you ready for this part? Okay. I spent a lot of time on this part. So my slides that I want to cover is just for everybody in attendance, how Stockton Promise works, the methodology of how it is awarded. And I do know that there are more attendees than when we started, so I will quickly reintroduce myself to everybody. My name is Chris Connors. I'm the Director of Financial Aid here at Stockton University. And very quickly, I am a graduate of Stockton. I went here, loved it, still here. When I went here, this place has always been known as offering a quality education at an affordable price. And Stockton Promise, furthers that commitment to students. So how it works is, as Grace said, there's no need to raise your hand or let us know that you're interested in the program. Very simply, a student completes their admissions application. We review you, and if you're accepted, that begins the process. It begins it. Second step is there's another important application that you have to complete. That's my application. That is the the free application for federal student aid, otherwise known as the FAFSA. Okay, that makes that determination if a student is eligible based on what Grace had mentioned, the adjusted gross income. Okay, so very simply, if you're eligible, how it is formulated, how it's calculated is very first, if you're eligible for federal grants, for instance, if you've heard of the Pell Grant, that will be applied first. Okay, that is what's called as a federal grant. Second one, after that, state grants are applied if eligible for that as well. So all that free application for federal student aid, that will determine your federal aid, that will determine your state aid, and that'll also determine your institutional aid if eligible for any grants from Stockton. Okay, so we apply the state grants. If you've heard of the TAG grant, the tuition aid grant, if you're in James's arena, if you're a transfer, you might be eligible for NJ Stars. So that is a state grant as well. So we apply that. We apply the institutional aid. If you're eligible for any Stockton scholarships as an incoming first-year student or an incoming transfer student, you may be eligible for Stockton scholarships. That is applied. And then that remaining gap between that, everything that we've already stacked up, and the tuition and fees, which we are projecting for next fall as $14,885. That will be finalized in the summer. So right now it's just a projection, but whatever that gap may be from now until then, between all those grants and scholarships added up, that's where the Stockton Promise comes in. Okay, so it may be more for some students that are eligible. It may be less. The amount may be less, but at the end of the day, if you're eligible for it, it will be covering your tuition and fees. Okay, so, and then the next step is, if we want to go to the next one, step 5. So, if you're a commuter, if you're a commuter, your bill is just the tuition and fees. Okay, so your bill is pretty much covered. The only thing that isn't covered is your books, which we call an indirect cost. Books are not part of your bill. Okay. And transportation costs, for instance, wear and tear, the gas in your vehicle just to get down here. Okay. So what you can do is, if you're eligible for private scholarships, you may be also eligible for your federal loans, the direct loans, as we call it, subsidized or unsubsidized. You might be eligible for them. Those can be accepted, and that is applied after the tuition and fees. Okay, after the Stockton Promise. So that can be used to fund either your direct costs if you're living on campus, your housing and meals, or if you're commuting, that also can be used to supply costs for transportation and your books. Okay, that's just one example. This is what I'm calling student A. Okay, so we'll go on to student B, just another example, but a different type of scenario that you may be in as a student. Okay, so student B was not eligible for grants and scholarships. They did their financial aid application. They're just bounced outside. Okay. They weren't eligible for any Pell Grants. They weren't eligible for any TAG grants. Okay. But that's all right, because you might still be under that $65,000 income limit, as Grace had talked about. Okay. If you're a dependent student, okay. If you're under 24 years of age and considered dependent by the terms of financial aid, it's going by your parents' AGI, not yours, but just your parents' adjusted gross income combined. Okay. If you're an independent student, it's going by the student's AGI, 65,000. Okay. And spouse, if there is a spouse. Okay. But for student B, they weren't eligible for any free money from the federal or state government. But let's just say, Stockton might have offered you a scholarship or a grant. Okay. So that is applied first. Okay. Because there's no federal. And then if eligible for Stockton Promise, you're under that 65,000, you're a New Jersey resident, you've done all your financial aid requirements thereafter, Stockton Promise gets plugged in. Okay. It's covering, once again, that remaining gap between your awards, your free money, your grants and scholarships, and your tuition and fees. Okay. So there's an example right there, student B. Now I got one more for you if you like that. And then, of course, your loans are available to you in your private awards, whether it be through a community or a private organization that you received your scholarships from, your volunteer work that can be applied after, whether you're living on campus or commuting, if you need help with those commuting expenses. So let's take a look at student C. Okay. They receive federal grants. Okay. They also, when they did their financial aid application, we also see Stockton sees that they're eligible for their state grants. So that's applied as well. You got the federal grants, you got the state grants applied, as well as institutional. Now, all of a sudden, the student is probably the most eligible for aid. They have a high need, their academics are off the charts. And all of a sudden, we see that tuition and fees are covered. Okay, by the federal, state, and the institutional money already. Now, as you can see, students already covered. They might be eligible for Stockton Promise, but there is no need to cover that gap anymore because their aid, they're in a unique, very good situation where their aid is already exceeding their tuition and fees, and now it's going into areas to cover those other expenses. Whether it be commuter or living on campus. So the student's in a very good situation. And then once again, the last point that I like to make, if they're eligible for private scholarships or loans, that can be applied after. So, the student is in a very good situation and should be considering living on campus, whether it be here on our main campus in Galloway or in Atlantic City. Accept those loans. Always consider loans are an investment. This program does help defray the costs and reduce loan indebtedness. But if you have the opportunity to live on campus, do consider your loans, consider an investment, consider that experience of living on campus. Okay, so that is just how it's calculated and how it works. So you understand that what Stockton Promise is. It covers tuition and fees, but do understand what it doesn't cover. It doesn't cover your housing costs. So you do want to make sure you have a plan in place, if eligible for this program, to cover those added additional expenses. Okay. Now, if you like the engaging content you just saw with those charts, that's my instructional technology degree at work, folks. But if you do want some, we do have some excellent tips on our social media. So, if you're not on your phone already, do take it out right now. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. And why is this important? The content that we put out there all the time is very helpful tips, tricks, instructional videos, important deadlines, reminders for students. But why this is important, if you are looking for additional ways to fund that Stockton experience, in addition to Stockton Promise for housing and meals, do consider following us. And we do put out, those opportunities as well as scholarship opportunities that will help defray those added additional costs beyond the tuition and fees. and I'm going to touch upon this the best I can because this is a little bit out of my arena, but I'm going to hand it over to the experts in admissions if they can plug this a little. We are open for the fall. If you've seen our website, and we honestly can't wait for the fall. And so we already have some upcoming programming offered to you. So if you want, Grace.
Absolutely. So we do have a Stocking Experience Day, and this is planned for May 15th of this year for our incoming fall 2021 students. So if you are interested in coming to campus, admissions will most certainly be there. Financial aid will most certainly be there, as well as a host of other departments that we have on our campus. So again, this is in person. We are masking up. We are staying socially distant, but we are allowing students to come on to our campus, especially for our fall 2021 folks. Now, if you are not fall 2021 and you're interested in coming to campus as well, you may certainly do so by visiting our campus. We are open for in-person campus tours on both our Galloway campus and our Atlantic City campus as well. So if you're looking to do that, you may certainly do so. You can meet with either myself or one of my colleagues after. We are more than happy to chat through the admissions process. And the great part about financial aid is that I can go bother Chris right upstairs. He is just right upstairs. So we have a whole team who is looking to help you there as well. But in terms of other ways to connect with our financial aid folks, you can actually schedule an appointment with a financial aid representative right there. So you may certainly do so if you are looking to do that. So yeah, we can definitely get you all set up with some folks who are certainly in the business of helping you out.
You're never bothering me, Grace. And anyone in the audience, you would not be bothering us if you did come upstairs in our office.
I'd like to make a plug also for one other in-person event that we do have on the schedule for any potential or incoming transfer. Wednesday, May the 26th, 3 p.m. We do have a transfer open house that will be on the main campus. Okay, so in addition to the Experience Day, Saturday, May the 15th, transfers, of course, are also more than welcome and encouraged to attend that, as we will have individual breakout sessions, but a transfer only specific event will be held in the afternoon, 3 p.m. on Wednesday, May the 26th. Okay, so be sure to keep your lookout online for that information.
Excellent. And yes, I just wanted to put on up that QR code again, where you can actually schedule an appointment with a financial aid representative. You may also reach out to their office if you are interested. But if anyone has any general questions, and I know Natalia has been very diligent over in the chat, as well as Heather, and over in our Q&A section. So to my ladies, do we have any questions that we think would be beneficial for everyone, for Chris or myself to kind of chime in on?
Yeah, certainly keep the questions coming. If anybody feels uncomfortable because there is an audience, either through privacy, that's completely understandable. As Grace had mentioned, you can certainly reach out to our office. You can schedule an appointment, as you can see on our screen right now, where we'll give you the time that you need. We have like half-hour slots with our counselors. So you can certainly call us either through telephone. You can visit us. Campus tours are ongoing, and there's so many people visiting campus right now, and it's actually a very good feeling just to see people again. So either before or after your tour, come visit us. We're here to help. Come to campus, as Grace had mentioned, the May 15th date, the Experience Stockton Day. We're going to be there as well. So you will be able to get that one-on-one if the Zoom thing is kind of if you're a little unsure of it right now.
And I just wanted to mention that for all of our accepted and confirmed students or families who are logged in this evening, keep a close eye on your email, because next week, towards the end of the week, we will be sending out invitations to new student orientation, which will begin in mid-June and early July. First, we'll do transfers at the end of June, and then our new students are in the early July timeframe. And that is actually where our new students will select and register for their classes for the fall.
We do have a question in the chat about the coverage of the summer or winter courses by the Stockton Promise Grant.
Yeah, Stockton Promise is covering the traditional fall and spring semesters. It would not be available to summer, but I do want to let the audience know is that, for this summer, I can't speak for next summer, but in this summer and the past summers, we have provided discounts for classes. There are incentives to help defray the cost for summer courses. And summer aid is available outside of Stockton Promise. We don't have a winter semester here at Stockton.
There's a few questions in the chat that I want to get to. I think that they're important. There's a parent or student that's requesting what if they've already accepted the subsidized and unsubsidized loans. When will we be finding out about Stockton Promise if I qualify? What if I make more than $65,000? Does the Promise Award stop? And at what point do I need to apply for federal loans? So those are just some of the questions that are in the chat. Chris, if you want to address them.
Yeah, I'll do my best to remember all those questions.
No, I'll repeat them.
Okay, thank you. As long as you're writing them down for me.
Sure. So what if I've already accepted the loans?
Yes, if you've already accepted the loans, we completely understand. This is a very new program, and a lot has happened before that, before the announcement of Stockton Promise. We're very understanding of that. The whole purpose of this program was to defray, or to reduce student loan indebtedness. If you have already accepted your loans, you're paying attention. We've asked students to, make sure they've accepted their loans and they've completed their loan requirements. But now all of a sudden you see that, hey, wait a second, now my tuition and fees are covered. I accepted these loans. Can you undo this? The answer is yes, if you so choose. Now that you've accepted those loans, you're entitled to them. But all that we ask is we do have a loan change form, an electronic loan change form on your Stockton account. When you go inside your student account, your student portal, I'm not sure if I'm speaking to the student or the parent, but if the student goes in under the financial aid tab, there is, request a loan change. And you can go in there. And what that does is it sends to our office in writing that you'd like to request a loan change. And we will certainly back off those loans for you. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing for us, the institution. It's a good thing for you as a borrower. We in my office, I've put together a great team, and one of those members of our team is our loan counselor. So she will be available to assist any students or families that want to back out of the loans that they've accepted. Okay, so we're very understanding of that, and we will be available to make that change. Second question was, how do I find out if I qualify? Okay, so how do you find out if you qualify? I would like to tell everybody in attendance tonight for this very large group is our office is ready to begin awarding in this next week. Okay, and how we will be informing those eligible, and you be sure to visit the Stockton Promise page. Right then and there, you will be able to determine if you are eligible or not. The $65,000 adjusted gross income is based on your 2019 tax information. Okay, that is what's reported in your 21-22 FAFSA. Okay, so if you are eligible, if you're a New Jersey resident, if you've done all your verification requirements that we message students to complete, and you're in that 65,000 to zero range, we will be sending you a letter, an email, electronic letter, saying that you have been awarded. And that letter will then lead you into your updated financial aid offer notification, which will show it right there and also be reflected on your student account inside your Go Stockton portal. Okay. And we might also, for the parent of the student, ask about loan changes. We might also put in that letter to include steps of how to unaccept the loans or decline them, if you will.
Question number 3. What if in 3 years we make over $65,000? Does the Stockton Promise stop?
Okay, so if I'm understanding of this question, you're eligible for this coming year. You're eligible for year two, and then all of a sudden, family makes 70,000, 80,000, and then you're bounced out. We're going to ask every student family to make sure they renew their financial aid application every year. Okay, that will determine your renewal eligibility. So each year you must be under 65,000 for this to be renewed.
And you must apply before April 15th every year.
Yes, deadline will be April 15th, and for those eligible, that would be put in your letter as well. Okay, that is the deadline. That is a state deadline. We want to make sure you maximize all sources of financial aid before we consider any institutional aid. Okay, so yes. So go back to your question. You might not be eligible for year three, but let's say year four, you're back in that threshold. Okay. All you need to do, and for everybody in attendance, is make sure you appeal that to our financial aid office, and we will consider it for year four. Okay. And if everybody, please understand too, there is an opportunity out there. You submit your 2019 tax information, okay, for next fall. Now, what you made in 2019 is not a good, indicator of how you're doing right now when it comes time for payment to us or anywhere else you go. We do have in our office what's called an income appeal process, where you can, a lot of things may change since 2019, whether there be a significant reduction in income through employment, divorce situation, God forbid, a death of a family member. But we've seen those circumstances. If any of those have happened, go to our Stockton website. I might be able to have somebody type in the chat for me as I'm speaking. I can't do two things at once. But we do have a page that will go through the income appeal process to determine your eligibility. But if you complete that process, we might be able to see if you then have an updated adjusted gross income that puts you under 65,000. Okay, we will then re-review you for Stockton Promise. Okay, I promise. Okay. So do take advantage of that opportunity. It's what's called a professional judgment process, where we will review you based upon your special circumstance and calculate you, which would be a better reflection of your income now than in 2019.
And a parent asked, at what point do we apply for federal loans?
There really is no deadline, to be just simply put. I do want to make sure, there really is no deadline to be eligible for financial aid. The deadline that comes quickly, we don't have our bursar Ryan Terrell here. He would love the time to speak tonight. But I want to make sure everybody in the audience, if you're coming in this fall, of his deadline, which is August 1st, usually the first week of August. Okay, that's when we want to make sure all students coming into Stockton for the fall that have a plan in place for payment. Okay, so you will be receiving financial aid, but is it enough to cover your bill? Is it enough to cover the housing and meals, those added additional expenses? So if all that free money is not covering it, or if you've accepted your federal loans already, you might need to borrow a little bit more. You might need to go through a private lender. You might need to consider a Parent Plus loan. We have plenty of time to talk about that at another time. And we will be meeting you at orientation. Please know that this isn't the last time you're going to be talking to financial aid. We'll discuss all those options. So as I said, simply put, there is no deadline for accepting your loans, but be aware of when you have to have to be covered for your bill, and it should be first week of August.
We have a question from a student who wants to know how to qualify for housing grants.
I'm not sure what's considered a housing grant. We do have opportunities for students to live on campus. If it's a consideration of an RA position or possibly a student worker in the housing office, that eligibility, to work on campus, it's determined if you're eligible for federal work study. Also, if you're looking to be an RA, you might need to speak to the housing office. We do provide, additional assistance based upon FAFSA data if a student is eligible for any additional assistance in housing. But it's all determined on the student's individual financial aid application. If you are awarded, it will be reflected in your offer notification from financial aid.
There's certain questions. I just put the website address again in the chat for the families to be able to go to the FAQ. Some of the questions we may have addressed earlier in the presentation. Again, we have not sent any notification to students as of yet. They will receive an electronic notification that they are eligible for the Stockton Promise. No, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to choose classes on May 15th for our Experience Stockton Day. It is a great opportunity to learn more about all of the great things that we have here at Stockton, and an opportunity, of course, to tour the campus. The orientation emails will be going out before May 1st, so that you will be assigned if you've already committed to Stockton. For those students that are joining us this evening and are only admitted students, I do want to extend the opportunity for you to visit our accepted students page. In that page, we do, of course, have your next steps as far as confirming your enrollment to the university. For those families that may have some financial hardships, we are accepting an enrollment fee waiver form that you can also complete, and that will waive the $250 enrollment deposit. That is a non-binding agreement, but is our way to make sure that the student is, of course, confirmed for the fall if they wish to join the Stockton family.
I'd like to answer a question also, Heather, if you don't mind. It's been reoccurring on the transfer end of things. If you already have a bachelor's earned, and if you are applying for a second bachelor's or for a graduate level program, this Promise grant would not qualify. Okay, so this Promise grant is not eligible if you have a baccalaureate degree earned already. So, for example, if you're interested in our 15-month accelerated BSN, and if you have a bachelor's earned already, unfortunately, this program would not be for you. But there are other opportunities out there, of course. Just to also reiterate about the enrollment confirmation deposit waiver, there was a question about that in the Q&A. Those who are admitted, congratulations and welcome to Stockton. The next step in the process would be to confirm your enrollment here to the university. So you are an admitted student now, and the next step would be to confirm, which means that yes, you will be coming. There are two ways to go about confirming your attendance. If you would like to submit the enrollment confirmation deposit, that is a $250 deposit. If you were to pay that out of pocket, that will come off of your bill. Okay, way number two is the waiver form. So just to clarify about the waiver, is enrollment confirmation deposit waiver. This way you do not have to come out of pocket the $250. It will become a part of your bill instead. Okay, so that's one of two ways there to confirm your enrollment. And if you're receiving the Stockton Promise or financial aid, that'll become a part of your tuition. So this way you don't have to come out of pocket the $250. Okay, so hopefully that clarifies the question in the chat about the enrollment confirmation deposit. If you go to our website, stockton.edu, under admissions and the admitted students page, like Ms. Medina had mentioned, the accepted students page, that request to waive the enrollment deposit is there online for you.
Chris, could you please address the question about maintaining full-time enrollment and what happens with your bill and your grant if you fail a class?
Yeah, I saw that question in the Q&A, and I don't know if it's specific to Stockton Promise, but I'll just speak generally. students want to maintain a full-time status here at Stockton because doing so will continue your progress towards your degree. I believe the student had asked, what happens if I fail a class? Am I responsible for paying that class, paying for that class? Simply put, students are responsible for paying for all classes. If you have financial, and when I say paying for financial aid, paying for classes, that includes your financial aid, not just paying out of pocket. So if you have financial aid, that will pay towards your classes. If you don't, you would be paying out of pocket. If you fail a class, you have to pay for it. If you pass a class, you have to pay for it. However, if you begin to fail too many classes, students must maintain a 2.0 at Stockton and at many universities. This is what's called satisfactory academic progress. Okay, if you're receiving financial aid, whether it be here or any other college or university, the federal government will be willing to give students free money, and the state government. They're willing to give free money if eligible, okay? And they will only continue to do so as long as it's expected that the student will do well in classes and make sure they complete their degree on time. Meaning they're not going to be giving financial aid to students if you're doing like this 50-year thing here, a lifelong learner. As much as you like this place, they want to make sure you're out of here in 4 years, 6 years, and otherwise your financial aid will dry up. Okay, so to answer the question, what happens if I fail a class? That happens. You might have to repeat the class, but if you begin to fail so many, if you go below a 2.0, then you're in jeopardy of losing that federal aid. Okay. Also, if you start withdrawing your classes, like I said, you want to make sure you're done on time at a specific time frame. If you start withdrawing, even if you get A's on your transcript, but you have a W here, a W there, withdrawing, and your transcript starts to read like Wawa, W-A, W-A. That's for my South Jersey friends in this chat. If North Jersey, they might not know what Wawa is. You will learn if you come here. But if you start to have W-A, W-A, eventually you will not be progressing on time to get your degree. And that's the other trap with satisfactory academic progress. It's called PACE. Okay, so it's a very complex answer to a simple question. I hope I answered it. But regardless, pass or fail, all students are expected to pay for their classes.
And Chris, could you also describe to our students in what circumstances would the EOF program cover the students' housing?
Ms. Medina, I might need your help on this one.
Sure, certainly. So if a student is or has qualified for the EOF program, EOF Achieve does cover the difference between what is not covered in the financial aid package. So again, if the student is planning to live on campus, part of their financial aid package is indeed the student loans. So you would need to accept the federal and subsidized and unsubsidized loan, and then the gap from there would be covered with our EOF Achieve funding. It is important to note that we are still reviewing candidates for the EOF program. You would need to, of course, have selected that option in your application. For those families that may now see or review the income criteria set forth by the state of New Jersey, if you are indeed eligible, we are again still considering candidates for that. We would need, of course, your EOF application, which we have an online form for the family or the student to complete, and we will require 2 years of tax transcripts from the IRS, and you would send that information to us for a review. Once we've completed that review, we would invite the student in for an interview with the EOF department, and then they're notified as far as both their eligibility and their enrollment in the program. I am a product and proud alum of Stockton myself. More importantly, I'm a product of the EOF program, so know firsthand of the opportunity that the program provides to students. Of course, not only the financial assistance, but more importantly, the academic support for the students that are taking advantage of that opportunity. So there again is still time to apply, and let me encourage you to do so. I will be putting my information in the chat for those families that may have some questions that like to reach out to me directly. We are all in this together. We know that this is a big decision that the families are quickly having to make, and any way that we can aid you with making the decision of choosing Stockton, please do not hesitate to reach out to our offices.
And with that being said, anyone with specific questions as a follow-up to this, you may also put your information over in the chat to send it to either the panelists or just to Chris Connors himself, and we'd be happy to follow up with any families that way as well. Just make sure that is going directly to our panelists or just Chris Connors by himself. If you wanted to put your email or your Stockton Z number, if you have that handy, we can certainly follow up that way. Again, we can also do follow-up appointments by scheduling through the QR code on the screen through our financial aid website.
There is a question, I guess, on the chat. Someone has a hold on their account. It's important to note that all incoming students have holds on their account, and the reason for that is that we remove the hold when you get ready to be able to register for classes, and so those holds are placed on your account until you are invited for orientation and registration. So don't be alerted that you see that as a part of your Stockton portal. Some very good questions this evening.
Yeah.
Very good questions.
Very, very good questions. I see Anonymous is asking, they just finished their Master Promissory Note, their MPN requirements as part of accepting their loan. Does it mean that they have to fill out their loan change form to use Stockton Promise? These questions are deep, but I'm going to answer it. So a student's loan will not pay over into their account until they finish their loan requirements. So if a student chooses not to do, you just finished an MPN, so therefore, which is stated in your question, so therefore your loan will pay over. So my recommendation to Anonymous is that you do the loan change form if you do not want that loan. Okay, and that's completely up to you. Like I said, you've accepted it, now you're entitled to it. We're not going to take it off only if you want us to. And if you want us to do that, go into the Go Stockton account, and we will be able to, cancel it or decline it for you. Another great question by Anonymous.
Another question, Chris, for you. Does the FAFSA need to be completed every year to maintain eligibility for the Stockton Promise Grant?
Yes. Yes, and just for the group to be aware, it is required. Financial aid, free application for federal student aid is required annually, just so we can review those students to make sure that they are in that adjusted gross income range. It's important for students to get this done by April 15th, each year for renewal. But not only is this important for Stockton Promise, but for any other aid that the student might be eligible for, whether it be federal grants and scholarships, state grants and scholarships, also renewal for scholarships at Stockton. If you do receive a Stockton scholarship, a student must renew their FAFSA as well.
Just to confirm a question that's in the chat and that has also been regularly arising. This is a new program that is only eligible for those incoming for the fall 21 semester. Okay, so this Stockton Promise is not eligible for those who are currently enrolled here at the university. This is a brand new program that will be available to those who meet these eligibility requirements, beginning with the enrollment for fall 21.
Correct, new students. And if there are any current students on here, you know how to find our office, and we'll be willing to work with students to assist them with their any remaining balance they have this semester or going forward in next academic year.
There is a question from Justine who wants to know if there's only a limited number of students who will be selected for the Stockton Promise Grant.
It's another good question. No, there's not a limit. As long as they're eligible, we are committed. This is part of our promise, is that as long as you meet eligibility, that money will be there.
And I just want to reiterate what happened in some of the earlier slides. So all of the if you've been awarded already currently your financial aid package, and if you've been packaged with any of the federal money, any of the state money, of course, any scholarships that you may also have, if those awards cover your tuition and fees, you're covered. You're not going to get additional money on top of the tuition and fees for Stockton Promise is just that, towards tuition and fees. If you're to the very last dollar, so if there is a small gap that we are able to cover in that packaging, that's where the Stockton Promise will come in. So I just want to make sure that when you're reviewing your financial aid package, that you're looking at both all of the institutional money that comes from the university, because again, those are all a part of the university's funding towards each student.
There's also quite a bit of questions referring to the May 1 deadline. So a lot of students are applying to multiple schools and they would like
thrown that out the window. Not to cut you off, Natalia, but we will gladly give you as much time as you need before making the decision. Our orientation programs will be beginning in late June into July. So of course, we'd love to have you commit right now, this very moment. But we know that it's a big decision. We know that you have many institutions to choose from. We're just pleased that you joined us this evening and that you are considering Stockton.
And just to follow up on that, along with some of the questions in the chat, this is being recorded, so this will be available and posted. And we also do have 3 additional sessions. So if you know anyone, if you're a teacher or a counselor and you would like to direct any students to attend a session just like this, we will have 3 additional sessions. One is coming up on April 27th. May 3rd and May 6th. And we've tried to do them at various times of the day just so folks are able to make it at a time that are convenient for them. And you may sign up on that Stockton Promise website as well, that I know has been posted quite a bit in our chat. But we are coming right up on an hour. So if anyone has any questions, again, individual questions, our financial aid team is more than happy to schedule an individual meeting with you and your family. So certainly do request a meeting through that QR code or right on our financial aid website. They're super friendly. They're all great, just like Chris. And please let us know if we can help in any way. Our whole team is here for you, and Stockton is just here for you in general. So thank you all so much for attending tonight.
I look forward to seeing everybody very soon.
And I'm sure
Yes.
you will.
We would love to have this presentation in person for sure, but we'll gladly accept the virtual space as well and embrace it.
And I just want to also, to offer some, thank yous to all the panelists, Chris Connors, our Director of Financial Aid, Ms. Heather Medina, our Director of Admissions, as well as our admissions team members, Grace, James, Natalia, and Tracy, who were here with us this evening. So thank you all. And for those participants who are still with us, we wish you well. As many have already shared, we cannot wait to meet you in person. And if there's anything that we can do to assist you, please do not hesitate to reach out.